What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's Dynasty War Games, part of the Dynasty Warzone Network. Like and subscribe. Shout out to Uncle Papa Memphis, as I like to call him, and the man with the power, man of the hour, Jerry Sinclair. Thanks, guys. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. I'm here. I already screwed everything up with my main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
I'm good. That intro is interesting.
It was fun.
I've also never heard you call Memphis Papa Memphis, but now that's an expectation. So
it's Uncle Papa Memphis, actually.
Uncle Papa Memphis.
I need to see that in the chat next time.
Yeah. Now every time you refer to him, I'm going to correct you. That's what you should call him from now on.
This is not the first time.
I think I'll stick with calling him Memphis personally. But Austin, what about you?
I don't think I could do Papa really anybody besides my own. So
not Uncle either.
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, me neither.
The auspicious Austin Bell, everyone. Welcome. How are you tonight, Austin?
I'm lovely, man. Ready to get this going. How are you?
I'm great. So we're gonna start doing a new segment in the beginning. This week we're gonna do what do we call it? Dynasty Trade Doctor, right? So one of us is gonna bring up a problem with our team or a trade that's been offered to us. We're just gonna talk it through and we're gonna heal that roster. I think we have some other ideas for the first segment as well going forward.
Yeah, I got one to start. This should be fun because it involves two of us. It's a 12-team super flex. Start one running back, one receiver, one tight end, and 5 flex. I have Herbert and Burrow at quarterback, and a whole plethora of receivers, like a lot of them. And I'm trying to move off of Herbert as a contender. I wanted to get something a little bit higher ceiling. He's a fine floor play, and as a dynasty side, I like him a lot still, but I just don't know how much the ceiling's there this year. So I offered Jesse, Herbert, and Jalen Waddle for Kyler and JSN, knowing that this was a terrible time to offer for either of those two players. But I was just going through the league trying to send offers that I felt were reasonable to see if I could get any traction. I'll let Jesse see what he thought.
I'll dig into this, but before I do that, I just want to ask, didn't we say we were going to do bad offer of the week starting next week? That is foreshadowing.
Usually.
Yeah, that is foreshadowing, though. We are going to start doing that. Bad offer of the week. It doesn't necessarily have to be from one of us, but it'll be an offer that one of us gets. It'll just be for fun. First of all, Kyler and JSN are both coming out of breakout games. Kyler looked like the joystick out there again. I loved it. It looked amazing. And then, did anybody get more targets or catches than JSN last week? If he was going to break out, you definitely wanted it to be in that way. So, yeah, I'm going to be very reluctant to trade those guys. Then Herbert's hurt. So why would I trade my healthy quarterback for a hurt quarterback he's questionable? We don't even know if he's going to play. And then Waddle has been okay so far.
Yeah, Herbert's practicing though. So,
but yeah, Waddle lost his quarterback.
But again, we're as a contender to contender. I understand your sentiment. Like you have to worry about scoring points each week, and ironically, we're playing each other, which is even more.
And we're playing each other, and we played each other in the finals last year.
Correct. So I knew that when sending this trade that this was a long shot. Again, I was just trying to see what could happen. But it is what it is. If I would have put Pickens instead of JSN, does it adjust your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, if you would. Yeah. No, yeah, I still wouldn't do it. I'm not moving. To me, that's a pretty far step down, Kyler to Herbert for this season. And I'm looking to win a championship. So I don't want to do that. I would need incentive to do that. And just that's not. Yes. I do like Waddle much better than Pickens, but not enough for me to move the quarterback side of that. Okay. What do you think, Chad?
I like the very unnecessary but much appreciated, and we played in the finals that I beat you in.
Of course.
Yeah, and I beat you.
I ignored it.
Yeah, no, I like I respect the attempt. But yeah, I would make that trade if I were you, Jesse. So
No, even if it had a first attached to it, at least that would make me think about it. But I still don't. I wouldn't. So that's where we are with that.
Yeah, that's why I don't send you offers, because you say stuff like that.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not in. I've just laid out a scenario where I can't move off of those players for lesser players. I can't. Even a first isn't something that budges me. It would have to be another. But I
yeah,
don't. Yeah,
it stops being about value at this point. If
right.
you're trying to win the league,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
Waddle's quarterback is hurt, and JSN is looking like maybe he can do something this year, hopefully. Of course, that's mostly wishful thinking. We've just had one good game, but it was a really, really good game with a lot of targets. So let's see. And then Kyler, but that's the main one. Kyler. It's just hard to move off of Kyler right now. Jalen and Jalen Waddle and JSN kind of like, a wash for me at this point.
Oh, that's crazy.
Going forward, I'm talking about for points scored, right? Like it could go either way. Waddle could really struggle with a backup quarterback, whoever's going to step in there in Miami, and JSN could come in and do bigger things this season. We don't know. So that's kind of a wash on points scored for me. Kyler and Herbert, I think Kyler's going to very much outscore Herbert this season. So it's just tough when the value is, I would say probably, I think most people right now, just off of recency bias, are going to lean towards the Kyler side already. So I think, it's if you were going to throw that offer out there, I think you'd have to add a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to start doing is going live at a specific time so that we actually get people in chat. We're going live this week just to get our feet wet again. We haven't done it in quite a while, but we're doing it also so that it'll be available immediately on YouTube, and you don't want to have to wait for publishing and all that kind of stuff to come out. One of the things that we're going to do when we start getting people back in chat, once people know we're here again, is asking for your trades in the chat, and then we'll go over them at the end of the show. And whether that's, a potential trade you've been offered, or an offer you're thinking about making, or maybe just a trade that you made and want to hear our thoughts on it, we'll be happy to do that. All right, Chad, you said you had something that you wanted to go over as well?
Yeah, I've got an interesting trade that I was pressured into talking about. But yeah, no, it's somebody sent me an offer. It's a rebuilding team. And by rebuilding, I mean it's in the later stages of a rebuild. So just for context on where the team currently sits, I have 3 25 first, 5 6 25 seconds, and multiple first in 2026 as well. I have Herbert, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Tua, Bryce Young, Bijan, A-Chain, Jonathan Brooks, Zach Charbonnet, so on and so forth. Wide receivers have Tank Dell, Roma Dunze, Brian Thomas, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman. Just a lot of young players overall. Brock Bowers on the roster, Dalton Kincaid on the roster. So a lot of really, really young, high potential players. Just, guys you can't really rely on at the moment. And somebody wants Brian Thomas Jr., and they are offering Chris Godwin and Aaron Jones for Brian Thomas Jr. in a 2025 third. So on value in a vacuum, obviously, for me at least, it's a clear-cut Chris Godwin, Aaron Jones side. So almost snatched it up, but then I'm like, man, I don't know that I can sell these guys this season. Obviously, this guy is going around trying to sell these guys if he's offering this kind of offer to me, and maybe not having the best of luck. So at the end of the day, are they worth the hold since I have so many high-risk players on the roster already? As far as, taking them and seeing if I can compete next season, or maybe even do something this season, because it looks like I'm going to be 2-1 to start off the year. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, so Maybe he just really likes Brent Thomas, is why he made that offer. Do you know that he's been making offers to other people?
No, I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah, maybe he just likes Brent Thomas. To me, the Aaron Jones part is what scares me, I would say, because that's an asset that I don't know will be anything next year. He could be running back is very much year to year. The Godwin part I really like. I kind of would rather have. I know this is going to sound hot takey or controversial or whatever, but I kind of on a point scoring team that I'm trying to compete with, I'd rather have Godwin than BTJ.
I don't think that's hot takey. I think a lot of people would say that that's a pretty even trade, Brian Thomas for Chris Godwin, just in a vacuum.
I mean, Aaron Jones is just straight up worth more than a third. So from a value standpoint, it's clear. And with you being in a position where you could possibly win this year, and if not, you have these two assets that you can sell off at a pretty high rate around the playoffs. Whenever do you have a trade deadline? Do you know in that league?
I'm not sure right off the bat or off the top of my head here, but I do know that I think I'll make the playoffs this year. I think I might scrape in. I don't think I have any chance of winning this league, to be completely honest with you guys. So
it's two assets to sell off at the deadline or in the playoffs. What do you think?
I mean, that's true.
I mean, the first question when I would think through the trade is, what do I think about BTJ? Do I think he's an alpha? Do I think he's a future wide receiver 1 for Dynasty, a mid-range 2, whatever that may be? That's the first thing I question.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I think he can be that wide receiver 8 through 12 in a startup eventually, then I'm not making that trade no matter the cost. Because the ceiling's there, whereas Godwin and Aaron Jones are likely at the top of their value peaks, especially with Godwin's start to the season. Because I think 2 weeks ago, this trade is laughed at. I think you're like, no chance. But now Godwin's put up, I think he's a wide receiver 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And now people are like, oh, I love Godwin. Well, 2 weeks ago, you hated him. So how do we know that in a couple weeks, it's not back to the Mike Evans show and Godwin seeing 4 to 6 targets a game, and now you're struggling to get a second? Whereas we're 2 weeks in and Brian Thomas has already shown multiple electric plays with the offense looking god-awful. So I think it's kind of risky from your roster standpoint that you're like, oh, it's going to help me contend, and it should. In theory, it should. But Godwin could be the ultimate sell high right now, which is what this manager could be doing. Or he's going to be a wide receiver 1 this year, and nobody saw it coming.
Even if he doesn't have to be a wide receiver 1, he could be wide receiver 2 and be worth more than BTJ.
I don't agree with that in Dynasty at all.
If he was like wide receiver 15 or 16, 17, somewhere around there.
So you would have sold Christian Kirk last year for, I'm trying to think of a rookie.
How about Ayuk 2 years ago?
Yeah, he was cheap. He was cheap.
Or Ayuk, I mean, what was Ayuk last year? Wide receiver 13? He wasn't a wide receiver 1, right?
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
And he was 24 at the time. Where Godwin's, 28, 29?
Yeah, what are we arguing?
I don't know. I don't think Godwin. I think you're at Godwin's value peak is my point. I don't think you see that any kind of gain where he gets into the top 15 to 20 in Dynasty.
You could be at BTJ's value peak.
Hypothetically, you could.
Sure, of course. Which is
because he's flashed, and if he turns out to just be, Super Gabe Davis, then but you know what I mean.
That was why I started the whole conversation with how do you believe in him, because that's what matters in this trade.
Well, so my whole thing is, and this is where it starts getting a little questionable, right? Because I can say, okay, well, yeah, if I had Brian Thomas Jr. on a roster that I thought was a pretty good roster, and I was like, yeah, I'm a BTJ guy. Really like his game. Really like how he plays, and you guys know I do actually really like him. But my roster is nothing but those guys, right? It's all Brian Thomas Jr.'s. It's, I mean, of course, there's the Bijans in there and Devon A-Chains and Tua's, although he's on IR now. But I mean, the rest of these guys, it's Tank Dell. It's I also have Herbert, but Tank Dell, Kincaid, Adunze, Ladd, Brock Bowers,
Gotcha.
Xavier
I get it.
Worthy.
I get it.
Like it's all those guys. You know, it's
Yeah,
all
it's
Brian
guys
Thomas
that are
players.
all potential, and you don't know what they're going to be.
Yeah,
And to turn
even
that
my
into
bench,
something a little
they're
more
all.
real.
It's filled with all those guys. You know, your Charbonnets, your A.D. Mitchells, your Keon Colemans. It's filled with all those guys.
I'll be honest with this team. All right, so what you're in help of is how do you bring a team from rebuild to contention? It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, right? I honestly think that you shouldn't even necessarily make those picks next year. You should probably start trimming off some of your younger assets for proven veterans. And in the offseason, once you get closer to draft time, sell those draft picks for like the highest value that they'll be for depressed veteran value that'll put up points for you next year, and you'll have an actual chance to contend. That's how you bring a team from rebuild to contention very quickly. I did it with 3 different teams last year.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I advocate that kind of thing for that team that you have because you have so many. Like you just spent most of our segment talking about like listing names of players, right? There's a long list.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need all of those guys. It's probably better to bring in some proven talent, and you're only giving up one of them. Who and if you want me to be honest, I see BTJ long term as a really good number 2. I don't see him like legitimately as an alpha. I don't think he can consistently get enough separation in the intermediate game to make him enough of a factor from game to game to be an alpha number 1. Like the offense can't flow through him. He's the chunk guy. He's the big play guy, even though he can do more than that. But if it's crossers, digs, goes, I don't know that you necessarily run your offense through him, right? Once you get a competent offensive coordinator there, which I don't have. I don't trust the coaching either. So that's a big problem too.
Yeah.
But yeah, long term, I think that if they had something like Calvin Ridley when he was younger in his prime, like an elite separator on the other side of him, I think that guy would get more targets.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer him something back. I'm going to offer him Brian Thomas. This is a guy that's competing. And so I know that he's undervaluing he values Brian Thomas ahead of Chris Godwin. I know that because of the trade he sent me.
Sure.
So I'm going to offer him Brian Thomas 2 seconds and that third that he wanted, 225 seconds for Chris Godwin and AJ Brown.
Oof. All right.
So with AJ Brown's injury, let's see what he does.
Ballsy. I like it.
Yeah. I thought about Brian Thomas in a first, but I think that's a very even trade. And I think he obviously thinks highly of Brian Thomas. So I want to see how highly he thinks of Brian Thomas.
AJ Brown fits your build wonderfully. All right, y'all. Want to play a game?
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
Trying to win a game.
We're gonna play let's make a dynasty deal. You guys ever seen Let's Make a Deal?
Yeah.
Wayne Brady.
Mm-hmm.
You watch the Game Show Network? Did they ever play the old one with Monty Hall?
Who?
My grandmother was in love with him.
Did they play that in black and white then, or was that color?
No, it was actually in 70s color. People used to. I think they still dress up in crazy outfits. So really, we're gonna start. We're gonna make a deal, right? So this is Austin. This is more about what you walk away with than whether you win or lose.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Sure.
All right. So we're going to play a little mini game, and then we're going to start making deals. Sound good?
All right.
All right. So this player, you're going to guess this player. He's a quarterback, and he's 25 years old. He's with his second team. He's got 2 top 20 fantasy finishes. He's got 1 top 10 fantasy finish, and he was the 11th overall pick in the draft.
I feel like I should absolutely know that. and I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, did I mention that team that drafted him was the Bears?
Oh, Justin Fields?
You ding, ding, ding. All right. Austin wins, Justin Fields. I think we need a little sound effect for when somebody wins.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, Austin, you have now won Justin Fields. And I'd like to know if you'd like to keep Justin Fields or trade him for what's behind door number one. Door number one is Bryce Young and a 25-second random.
I'll take Fields.
You'll take Fields. All right. All right. Vanna, will you close door number one for me? All right. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Now, Austin, you have Justin Fields, and I'd like to know, would you like Justin Fields or what's behind door number two? Door number two is my son, Tua Tagliavoa. Would you like Justin Fields or Tua?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Tua Tagliavoa.
That was my best guess.
It's probably going to depend on my roster structure. Can I have some context? Because if Fields is my QB 2 or 3, then I'm probably going to need to keep Fields. But if Fields is my QB 3 or 4, then I'd rather take the shot on.
You're living in the world of a vacuum right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even give you it's a rebuild.
Then I'll take the shot on Tua.
All right. So, Austin, you have Tua, my son, Tagliavoa. You say his last name, Chad.
No, I like the way you say it.
All right. So you like what I have to say. And coincidentally, Austin, we've just talked about this player. Would you like Tua or what's behind door number three? Door number three would be Chris Godwin and Jameson Williams. It's a tough one, right?
That's a pretty good one. In a vacuum, because obviously this is completely roster dependent. I'll take the receivers and gamble.
You think they have more value?
Yeah, I think I could possibly squeeze 2 first out of them eventually, if everything goes right.
Okay. I think he has Beagles.
Yes,
Beagles.
I have 2 of them, and they're going crazy. They saw something outside.
That's all right. We are very dog-friendly, cat-friendly. We're a pet-friendly podcast. I think Chad used to have a cat that used to walk on the keyboard, and then Mike's cat stuck his butt in the camera one time.
A little too cat-friendly on this podcast.
Mine's in heaven. He used to help out once in a while, though. He would just sit there and stare at me.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, man.
That's all right. It's been a while. So
okay.
You never really get over it, but, we moved on.
He was a good cat. I remember him.
Yeah, Pukas. He was Pukas Nakua. He was a good cat. All right. So, you took the receivers?
Yes.
All right, Austin, you are the proud winner of Chris Godwin and Jameson Williams. All right, Chad, you didn't get to talk at all during that. Let's just talk through some of the values. What do you think of his choices through that?
I like him. I like the Tua trade. I would definitely snatch that up. Take Tua any day I can get him. I think he, as far as like for the cost of a guy that I don't think is going to be playing in the NFL consistently very long, in Justin Fields. I mean, I hope he does. Seems like a really good guy, but yeah. Anyways, and then the wide receivers, I really like Jameson Williams. I am really, really high on Jameson Williams. I thought he was the most talented wide receiver in his class. Still do. So hoping he can keep it up this year.
So yeah, I mean, we've seen a situation where Jameson Williams can be the wide receiver 1 in that offense. People didn't think was possible that he could be more targeted than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think it's going to be defense dependent. I mean, it's going to matter who they play and what that defense gives them as to like who out targets the other one at this point. I think you have possibly, do we have like a 1A and 1B in Detroit at this point?
It's gonna be.
I mean,
crazy if that
we'll have to
happens.
see it for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there was nobody higher on Jameson Williams than me, during the whole draft process. But I mean, we've got to see it for at least a season. We've got to see him stay on the field. We got to see him be consistently a part of the offense, not just schemed, but also when games are not going his way, are they relying on him to make, or not going their way? Are they relying on him to make a play? Whereas Amon-Ra is, I think, undeniably that guy. Even with the last 2 weeks, I think it's pretty safe to say. And then the other wide receiver was Chris Godwin, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a little
so-
bit of now, a little bit of future as well.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
not
I think
anything that's
Chris
expiring.
Godwin is pretty safely worth 225 seconds, at least. So yeah, I mean, I like it.
All right, and Bryce Young in a second is just completely out of the question. Is that what we're saying at this point? I mean, Austin, I know you don't want to talk about this too much, but
I would love to get an idea of his value currently.
real quick. I mean, the latest word is that it just probably isn't going to work out in Carolina.
That's the best thing for him, to be honest.
Probably going to need a change of scenery, and they're probably going to move on. When a team says when that team says we're not considering trading him right now, it means they are. Because they just say we're not considering benching him, and then they just benched him, and they're not going to tell him before they trade him either. By the way, yeah, but I guess that probably won't even happen in season, right?
This is an interesting discussion. Where would you guys like to see him?
Miami,
let's say,
or the Rams?
Miami, huh? That's weird. The
Rams is probably my favorite choice.
And you're okay with him sitting, for a year or two under Stafford?
It's obviously shown he needs to.
Yeah. That might be the best thing.
It's a great offense for him, scheme-wise. I would love that. It obviously depends on how McVay felt about him coming out, but I think that would be a phenomenal spot for him.
Minnesota wouldn't be bad.
Yeah,
no,
agreed.
No,
you just like McCarthy.
Well, with JJ McCarthy, I don't like that at all. They won't do that, but the spot wouldn't be bad.
You can't do that to your rookie quarterback.
Nah.
I think Vegas could be interesting.
Yeah,
I think Vegas's offense is not as bad as I thought it was going to be coming into the year.
And their defense is pretty good.
Their defense is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's borderline top 5, to be honest.
I mean, I don't think there's anything borderline about it, man. I think they're pretty secure top 5, if they're not top 3. That is a good looking defense through 2 weeks, man. Yeah, the other one that I was thinking about, obviously, it's not. I think it's a step up from Carolina, but not a huge step up, and that would be the Giants. Giving him
that's a step
year.
up.
Yeah, I mean, at least he'll have an alpha wide receiver, and I don't think the Giants' offensive line is that bad this year. But then again, the Panthers' offensive line is not that bad. But I think the coaching staff would also be pretty good for Bryce if they did decide to go that way. And apart from Daniel Jones after the season, Bryce would have a clear 1-year window to make it happen. And then if he doesn't, then bring on Arch Manning.
I don't think they – I don't know, but I don't think they move on from him this year. I have a feeling they try to give him somebody to compete with next offseason and give him a chance. I could totally be wrong, but Dalton's on his last year. They have no other options, and they can't go into next year, the draft, where they have to draft a QB. And if you look at free agency, there's nothing there either. So I just can't imagine they just empty it out and have no QBs for next year in a bad QB class.
Can they get a first for him?
No.
I think they'll be. I think they'd probably be thrilled for like a conditional second.
Yeah. Who would want to play in Carolina is the thing.
That's a great question.
Nobody's going to want to play there, especially after
someone you offer a lot of money to.
Yeah, which is what they did to Teddy Bridgewater. That's how they got him here.
I mean, but that's pretty. Yeah, but you're taking in a guy like Teddy, who's not an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, well,
Which
that's
is
what they have
basically
to
what
do.
you'd have to do. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, there's no even what we would call average NFL starters available next year in free agency. So it's bad there. I just don't know how you move them and have nothing in the works for next year.
Do you have your first round pick next year?
Yes. The only pick we're missing is our second, but we have the Rams second, which is all of a sudden turned really pretty. So
what about a swap?
Well, I mean, do you have a problem with Quinn Ewers?
Yes, I have a problem with all quarterbacks next year for my franchise because they're not going to be suited any better to walk into the 2025 Carolina Panthers roster and set up to succeed. So that's my issue with it, is that roster's so bad they can't turn it around in the offseason to met another rookie QB who really isn't a better prospect than Bryce Young was and expect them to succeed.
So why not re-sign Dalton for 2 years and build up your roster and then try to get your QB?
I'm fine with that. We just got to see how he is. He could be just as bad.
Still got to trade Bryce Young.
Yeah. We'll see. What's his value? That's the whole reason I wanted to discuss him. Like, Chad, I sent you Minshew for him. You said no. I understand that. But
no, I mean, I would take Bryce Young.
Where are you at with him? Like, what quarterbacks are you okay trading him away for? What quarterbacks are you okay
I'm
acquiring
at the point where I am dying on Bryce Hill's grave.
Okay.
I have one share and I'm holding it because I don't think I can even get.
You can't get anything worthwhile for him at this point.
A second?
You can't.
I would take a flyer.
I don't know.
I would take a flyer for a second.
I mean, I'm not trading him for a second.
I don't think I would trade 2 seconds for him.
I wouldn't either. But I mean, I'm not trading him for a second. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's in such a bad position right now where
he could be all of the scenarios we just worked through, and it's good that we did because now we can determine his value. It looks like he's going to be a backup for the next probably year and a half. And then he may get a shot. Maybe he gets a shot because of injury. But it just seems like he's on the path to Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett.
It's so impossible to know where. No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think we've seen enough from him to say, like, he's Mac Jones. Mac Jones just didn't have the intangibles that Bryce Young has or had as a prospect, right?
They don't seem to be there at all. I think
there's still a lot of teams that looked at Bryce Young and said, "Hey, this guy is the legitimate number one quarterback in this draft class," which was a strong draft class. I don't think everybody in the league is saying, you know what, we were wrong. This guy's terrible. I think a lot of people are looking at the situation and saying Carolina's really screwed this up.
I think if you give him to a coach, a good coach in a good situation, they could rehab him, but it's going to take time, and his value is going to completely tank in the meantime. You can't just snap your fingers and Bryce Young's going to regain all the moxie and everything he lost. His confidence is gone at this point. Tyrese Maxey stole his soul. I mean, what are you going to do? That's an inside joke right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not willing to trade him for a second. I'm just going to hold. And I mean, if he's a dart throw, a second's a dart throw, I'd rather have the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think his value is untradeable.
Yeah.
But if you get an offer of 2 seconds for him, take it. But if we want to talk other quarterbacks, I'd take him over Bo Nix.
Oh, wow. Well, I think that's just because you hate Bo Nix. So
I don't think – actually, I don't, because Bo Nix actually starts NFL football games, and my problem with Bryce is that he probably won't.
It's impossible to know where this is going to go with Bryce because this is such an unprecedented situation.
I'd rather have Penix. I'd rather have J.J. McCarthy. I think those guys have their chance.
I literally can't think of any situation. Like, has there ever been a situation like this in the NFL?
Where a guy sucked and got benched?
No, because that's not the full context of the situation. This is a number one overall pick that a team has traded everything to go up and get, and less than a year and a half later, they've benched him.
With a prospect that if he was 5 inches taller, then you're talking about one of the greatest prospects we've seen. That's the craziest part. Like
Jamarcus Russell, that was his name. Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, but
No,
that was kind of obvious because the work ethic, you could see that. Like the Bryce thing, everything you ever hear about him is how hard of a worker he is, how good of a person he is, how much film he watches. So like it just comes out of nowhere. Like it's really, do you believe he's not good, or is his situation so bad that he can't succeed?
I think his head is spinning.
That's what it looks like when he gets the ball.
He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing out there. It looks like
Yes.
he has no idea what he's supposed to be doing out there.
Yep. Which is insane.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I mean, I think that's pretty apparent. And it's not like we can look at him and say, well, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, because by all accounts, this guy is, a great kid.
It feels like David Carr to me, actually. It's a slightly different situation, but just a guy that was thrown in there. Are you guys old enough to remember that?
Yeah, sure enough.
Guy that was thrown in there, and he was thrown in there too soon, number one, and then behind a terrible offensive line with no weapons. And it just knocked the crap out of him. It, probably gave him PTSD. His head wasn't, in the right place. His confidence was, through the floor. And I think that's the same result that we're getting with Bryce Young right now.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Darnold comparisons because Darnold's arm talent's through the roof. I mean, it's way better than Bryce, excuse me.
Yeah, Darnold's a good one. Baker?
Yeah, but Baker showed significant flashes.
He did. He did look actually.
I don't.
Average.
I mean, but Baker also had an incredible team. I
Correct.
mean, he had he had probably the best offensive line in the league for a while. He had probably the best running back in the league for a while.
And he was below average for a while.
Yeah.
Behind it.
But Darnold is the only one that I see that can somewhat recollect. Just went to such a bad situation that he just lost all the intangibles he had, which he was a risk taker in college, but then he finally got to a good situation where San Francisco, the first one, where he was just able to work. He looked decent last year when he got an opportunity. And then now he's in another good offense, good scheme that's allowing him to succeed. So I think that's what you're going to have for Bryce, and hope that occurs. But I don't know what to do with him. I have 4 shares among my 20 leagues, and I guess I'm just going to hold him. And it sucks because he was my QB3 because I felt like he was so safe. I didn't see a ceiling, but I saw he can give me a spot start. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I have him as QB3 in all of them. With a lot of them, I don't even have another option. So now I'm just kind of stuck in the mud, and I guess I'm going to play wide receiver and super flex those weeks.
Put him in your back pocket and try to get a quarterback another way. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
And with the 1 share that I have, by the way, because I wasn't the believer that y'all were.
Yeah.
But I just played it that I wasn't really a believer in any of those guys, and I just spread my shares around. So I have a little bit of each one of them. All right, Chad, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, this quarterback is 27 years old. He's with the team that drafted him. He's got 5 top 10 finishes, 2 top 5 finishes, and he was a first overall pick.
Was Kyler a first overall pick?
Yes, sir, he was.
Kyler.
Yes, sir. You have one. Kyler Murray. You happy with your Kyler Murray prize?
Yeah, very happy with him.
All right. Would you like to trade your Kyler Murray prize for what's behind door number 1? Behind door number 1, you have Justin Herbert and J.K. Dobbins.
Kyler. I'll stay with Kyler.
Kyler. Good choice, sir. Good choice. All right. So you still have Kyler Murray. Would you like to trade Kyler Murray for what's behind door number 2, which is Brock Purdy and Devon Achane? I said it with a little flair. I usually say Achane.
I'm gonna. Oh, that's a tough one. Is it a start 1 running back or start 2?
2. That's more common. Yeah, that's more common.
I'm gonna take the package.
All right. So instead of Kyler Murray, you're gonna take the quarterback and the running back, Purdy and Achane. Risky, but valuable. All right, sir. Will you trade your Purdy and Etienne for what's behind door number 3, which is Christian McCaffrey?
No.
No. Chad is staying with Brock Purdy and Devon Etienne. Wow. What do you think, Austin? Would you take CMC there?
Heck no.
Heck no.
Not even close. Not even
Wow.
close.
You
Yeah,
guys
not even
scared
close.
shit
I
out of
wouldn't.
that guy,
I
huh?
wouldn't trade A-Chain for CMC.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
I'm with that too.
So it seems like the idea at this point is eroding that CMC is going to win you your league.
Well, he still can. But
HN might win you your league.
Yeah. Dude's leading the Dolphins in touches, and all McDaniels is talking about is he needs the ball more.
Right on. Makes me nervous when coaches say a player needs the ball more. Doesn't usually happen. When the player says they need the ball more, sometimes I have.
I mean, he's got 7 targets in the first 2 games each.
Yeah.
If he can keep that, if he can even just keep that going, like I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need to see more. I just need to see what he's been seeing.
Would you trade? So you wouldn't trade CMC for Kyler? I don't think I would either, right?
Lord, no.
No, not even close.
All right. Would you trade Herbert and Dobbins for CMC?
No.
Nah, I'll take the quarterback as well.
Okay.
CMC's fallen pretty far for me, which I was already lower than some, but now with this, man, I honestly think I'd take Kamara over CMC.
Whoa.
No.
Ouch. We playing redraft?
No, I mean the same age, same draft class, and it looks like the same ceiling. So
after a spike game from Kamara.
This was my opinion before the 4-touchdown game.
Interesting. So is there a concern that the CMC injury is going to linger and it's not just like 6 to 8 weeks or whatever?
Absolutely. That's what scares me.
Is it the Achilles where the
tendonitis is what scares me.
Mm-hmm.
That as someone who's had it, that doesn't just go away, and it can come back at any time from any movement.
You had Achilles tendonitis?
No. I had elbow tendonitis when I was like 14.
Yeah, and Austin is almost exactly the athlete that Christian McCaffrey is.
So I'm taller than Christian McCaffrey, so that's got to count for something.
Same exact body structure. Actually, it's uncanny.
My shoulders are a little bit bigger, but that's otherwise it's about the same.
In truth, it counts for nothing.
For sure. Absolutely. But my point is tendonitis comes back. It's not something that you're just all of a sudden, okay, I'm good to go.
All right. What would you trade for CMC?
Let me pull some running backs up. Let's see here.
You're a team, you consider yourself to be a top 4 team. The team that has CMC, put him on the block. He's had other injuries. He's looking to reset.
I'm probably the wrong person because anything I say is going to be an insult.
Chad?
How
about that Godwin JMO package? That's probably a little light, though, isn't it? CMC owners. You think he's going to take that? He's probably going to take that. Probably going to have to include a running back.
Let's use J.K. Dobbins because that name's super hot right now.
I'm probably the wrong person to ask on this one too because I'm not as high on Christian McCaffrey as a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, so you would rather have Mixon or CMC?
Oh, CMC. Yeah, CMC.
Okay. Josh Jacobs.
CMC.
But that's close.
Okay. Alvin Kamara.
CMC. But it's also very close.
CMC, but it's close.
Kamara and Mixon are my 2 number 1 buys if I can get them in a reasonable, like, late first value.
Oh, Drake May's out there.
Oh, nice.
All right, Kyron Williams.
Well, we know Chad's answer.
Kyron Williams.
Yes, I'll take CMC.
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
I'll take Walker.
even though they said it could be a multi-week injury.
I want Walker and Charbonnet.
That's not
For
how that
CMC.
works.
Well, that is how it
Then I
works for
want
me.
Mason.
I
CMC.
don't have him.
And I want and I want Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Me too.
No, but seriously, if I'm trading for Walker, it's kind of got to be like a Walker Sharp combo. Or I'm not that
James Cook.
CMC.
What's James Cook's value right now?
Good
A lot
question.
higher.
More
than
than
it
a
was.
first.
Oh God, yeah.
Like 2 firsts?
Yeah.
People probably flirting with that. Yeah.
You
It's getting
probably
close to it, right?
Yeah, you probably
flirting
see a
with
lot of people with him. Like, I mean, he's easily in most people's top 10 dynasty.
Jesse.
Oh yeah.
Jesse, hit me up in P2.
I don't need a running back.
Yeah, you do. Just think about it. All right.
No, I'm not trading for James Cook. I just traded 2/3 for him in a rookie draft this past season. I'm not doing that.
Okay, last one. JT.
JT in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
I mean, before the injury, it was pretty close.
Oh no, I don't agree with that, but okay.
I have JT very high. He might be my dynasty running back, like 4 or 5.
Okay. So Saquon, then you would prefer Saquon over CMC?
Oh yeah,
Saquon. Yeah.
Okay.
I would take JT over Saquon, by the way.
Okay, that's fair. So we have him roughly.
Saquon might be my like RB2
in Dynasty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Above Brees, then is that what you're saying?
No, Brees number 1.
Above Bijan?
Oh, I forgot about Bijan. 3. He's 3.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, man. There's 2 names right here. Like I'm having a trouble with this.
Yeah. Brees, Bijan, then
A-Chain and then Gibbs.
I have Gibbs
A-Chain's next. A-Chain's next for me.
I have Gibbs above A-Chain, but they're pretty close. So do you want to take Nino Pena's question? All right, Nino, we see you in chat. Yeah, we'll answer your question. We'll do a redraft. Throw it out there, and we'll do it. In the meantime, do you guys want to touch on Herbert? I think we did earlier. We talked about Dobbins. All right, we can move on from this. Who wants the last one?
How about first person gets it?
All right, cool. This wide receiver is 25 years old. He's with the team that drafted him. He has two top 15 finishes and 1 top 5 finish, which was 2 overall. And he was the 89th pick in the NFL draft. Did I mention that team was the Texans?
Nico.
Oh. All right, Austin Bell, you have one. Nico Collins.
Okay, this should be a good one.
Would you like to keep Nico Collins, or what's behind door number 1? Malik Neighbors.
Oh, okay, never mind. Neighbors.
Really?
Yes.
I disagree. But that's not how the game is played.
You said Nico Collins or Malik Neighbors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Neighbors.
That's like a smash for me.
Yeah. That should have been door 3, by the way, but that was a good one. Neighbors is so hot right now.
Door 3 is better. All right.
Okay.
I think there's people out there that would give you like Chase straight up for Neighbors right now.
Yes. I agree with you.
I honestly, before the season started, traded Neighbors and some like college C2C picks for Chase.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, it's been nuts. But okay. Would you like to keep your Malik Neighbors, or what's behind door number 2? Isaiah Pacheco and T. Higgins.
Neighbors.
Add a first to that, and it's still Neighbors probably.
Okay. Wow. I did not. This is like a huge heat check for me. I didn't realize I was putting such a name here. Okay, cool. Austin, you have Malik Neighbors, the hottest man on the planet, apparently. Would you like to keep him, or take what's behind door number 3, A.J. Brown?
Neighbors.
Chad?
Add a first to AJ Brown's side.
Oof, that is so incorrect.
I'm probably not at a first, but there's.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that's like me. I'm saying that's what it's going to take to get Malik Neighbors right now.
Oh,
Like,
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like,
you're not saying that's his value. That's just what it'll take.
That's what it's going to take to get that guy. Yeah, which is what his value is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what it should be. It's his value is crazy,
especially with AJB hurt. On top of that, like
yeah, well, that's true. But you're not saying you would pay that.
No. I won't even send a trade for Neighbors right now.
No,
that's how hot he is. Like, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of everybody's time.
I have 2 shares, and I've really thought about fishing them out there for one of those top 4 guys. But at the same time, I only have 2 shares, so I kind of want to keep them.
I have 1, and you guys are making me want to trade it right now.
Somebody just offered me Caleb Williams for Neighbors the other day. And if I wasn't like, super quarterback heavy, I would have taken it.
I would take that. Let's see. Oh, well, the team that I have him, I just lost.
We got to talk, and we got a question. Oh, we got a statement. Never mind. That's old David with a good statement. There you go.
Oh, our old friend David Donaldson. He says Neighbors had 18 targets in a game, just stupid opportunity. Okay. It's going to happen every week.
It's going to happen every single week.
Yeah.
That's literally their game plan. He's going to get 1 million targets every game.
He had like a 60-some% target share last week.
Do we trust the quarterback? I guess that's what it is.
It doesn't matter. No. It doesn't matter. They're literally force feeding him the ball like every play. It's every read. He's like the first read.
Probably the second one too, if we're gonna be honest.
Yeah, he will start at Neighbors, look the other side of the field, then go back to Neighbors.
Yeah.
All right, let's move off Neighbors. We know what he's worth. Let's go back to Nico. I expected to get through that. I sabotaged this game right from the start. I was expecting to get down to Nico or AJ Brown. That's what I really wanted to know out of this game.
And that's a good question.
It's a tough question in my mind. I think it's Nico.
I don't have a problem with it. With the injury there too, I don't have a problem with it at all, to be honest. And I'm an AJB guy, so
AJ Brown's value is super low right now.
Yeah,
like super low. Like I think
because of the injury?
I'm not surprised. No,
he's coming back next week.
It's just because the injury, his age, Devonta Smith looking so good. Like it's just and people are tired of him.
Yep.
I think. I've seen him traded a couple of times the last few weeks, and it's been barely anything over first, just a random first.
He's 27. He had a long touchdown that he looked like AJ Brown on in week 1. And Devonta Smith looked like that without him.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what it is. Like his value is super low.
So he is a huge buy. His value is super low, huh? So I could, if I tried to trade
compared to like the production he's probably going to give you, yeah.
If I tried to trade him for 2 firsts, I get laughed at.
Probably,
no,
but it depends on the roster.
Get laughed at. I think you'd get. Yeah. I think they decline it, but I don't think you get laughed at.
I mean, I would want one of the firsts to be high as well.
No, yeah, you get laughed at. Yeah.
I mean, not high. You don't even know like what your picks are going to be in 25. So but I'd want it to have an opportunity to be like 104, 105.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting that right now. But again, healthy. The fantasy community is so crazy. Healthy and has another big game. He's right back up there.
Yeah, we're in season, guys. Like
it's crazy.
If you plug him into if you guys have one of the calculators open,
I do have both
DTC. Open. Plug him in. I'm interested to see what they say.
Plug AJB in?
Yeah.
Okay. But with Nico, is he like number 6? Is that where we're at? The Chase, Lamb, Jefferson, Harrison, Neighbors. Is he the next one?
I have him above Neighbors.
Well, he's also like your boy, so that
you may be the only person on the planet. Literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, is he there? Is that where we're talking? Like, is he above?
I think so.
Is he above a healthy Puka?
Yes. I mean, I have an AJ probably even with healthy Puka if they're both healthy.
I'm talking about Nico.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Where I have this guys. Nico.
Keep trade cut has AJ Brown even with Garrett Wilson, Caleb Williams, Puka, technically above those guys, just barely, right below Sam Laporta in a tight end premium.
Yeah, it's a pretty good dip.
Yeah,
where he was probably 6. He was like in that 6 or 7 range before the season.
He is wide receiver 10 on DTC.
That's
behind Tyreek Hill and right above Drake London. I'd love to move London for Brown.
I would too. But that sounds about right. I think you could move London in a second for Brown.
Could you get Brown for JSN?
I think people would take JSN.
Who would you rather
like
have?
right this second? I think people would take JSN.
I would rather have Brown, but
Yeah.
I'd
rather
JSN.
have Brown. Yeah, I'd rather have Brown. Most situations, I'd rather have Brown. But yeah, I think people right this second would take that trade. I think it has a good chance of getting done.
I'm gonna send it.
Send it.
All right, guys. I mean, we're pretty much there.
Yeah.
I mean, Chad, you walked out, or Austin, you walked out with Malik Neighbors, Godwin, and Jama. That's pretty good all. Chad, you got Kyler. No, I'm sorry, you got Purdy and A-Chain.
It's also a pretty good haul.
Yeah. All right, so everybody's a winner tonight, except for me. I won last week, if you guys remember. Always got to remind you guys when I win because it's so very, very rare.
I was just gonna say, are we talking about the Eagles or are we talking about the game? But then
I'm talking about the game.
Oh, okay.
We're not talking about the Eagles.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't even know what that means. All right, guys. Anything else?
No, but I got a question.
Sure.
I just plugged this in just to do one little quick trade segment. Brock Purdy or Devon A-Chain or Malik Neighbors and Jamison Williams?
Wait. Who and Jamison Williams? Sorry, I missed it.
Neighbors. Or Purdy and A-Chain.
I guess I'm taking the Neighbors side because I feel like I can get the entire planet for him.
Well, A-Chain's the same way, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the dude's probably like RB3 right now in most people's eyes, flirting with Gibbs for 3-4.
Who you got, Chad?
Keep trade cut had it dead even. It's literally 21 points apart.
Purdy and A-Chain or Neighbors?
And Jamison Williams.
I'm going to go Neighbors, Jamison Williams.
Yeah, I think I would too. Just because I expect the running back side to get hurt. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm just not big on Purdy.
I am, and I probably would take that side in real life, but like the analyst in me wants the wide receiver side.
I want the wide receivers. Yeah, the running back. If A-Chain is so good though, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go wide receivers.
But we can do that next episode for sure.
Yeah, so it's segment. Yeah, it's a good question, Dave. Thank you for bringing that up. So, yeah, the listener league is going on. I just kind of want to bring up real quickly.
Say, I don't want to talk about it this week. Not yet. I'm trying to get one win on the board, please.
Yeah, it looks like Austin is in first place for relegation. Thank you.
No, Nath is actually less points than me.
Hey, you leave my boy Nath 97.
No, that's my boy. Nah, he is in last place. The Miami Dolphins man.
Yeah, right on.
I mean, and you and Dallas are pretty much like dead even on points, basically.
Yeah, Dave Donaldson just wanted us to bring that up because he's in first place. He's like 4-0 or whatever. So, all right, Dave, take your victory lap. Yeah, stop bragging. It's only week 2, Dave. But yeah, let's let it get into the season a little more, I think, actually. But we'll give an update next week. But before we really get like a relegation alert, I guess that can be one of our segments is listener league relegation alert.
Don't look good.
All right, guys, for Dave Donaldson, Austin Bell, and Chad Mendoza,